Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus and today should be another relatively short one because I'm only taking a look inside the box of EPOS, Gentes Game, which was kindly provided to me by Uli from Spielworks. As the original Gentes, this game also has been designed by Stefan Risthaus, artwork done by Harald Lieske. And in case you know Gentes, then a lot of the core mechanics will definitely look familiar to you. Today again I'm taking a look inside the box and maybe have a quick look at some of the, let's say, extra stuff that EPOS is adding here. But in a future playthrough I will also cover at least the base game and maybe even one of the scenarios that come with the game. So yeah, let's have a quick look inside the box. And yeah, this box is truly massive, especially when you compare it to the original Gentes, which was released in various versions by various publishers. I think there was also the deluxeified version of the game, and this version here, it looks really messy, but keep in mind, I believe this is still some kind of, it's not really a prototype, it's a pre-production copy, which is the reason why I think there was a bigger bag actually that carried all these mini bags in there, and I didn't even sort them around because again, ultimately I was going to explore the contents with you together. And so I'm relatively certain that the final product may come with some sort of inserts or so. I don't really know. So yeah, let's have a quick look inside the box and I will zoom in on some of the things whenever we see fit. So we do have an awful lot of cards that are being shown here. And I believe that's basically because of the various scenarios that come with the game. The base game, which you can really play as much as you want, and there is already a lot of randomization going on in this one, comes with, I believe, 54 of these civilization cards, and I can only guess here that these are way more than 54 cards. This almost looks like a legendary copy or so, base game at least. So there will be definitely cards that you will not see when you play this with the base game alone. And yeah, these are some of the epochs cards. Yeah, these are the 3 different epochs that you can play through the game in the base game. Maybe let's open up one of those, right? I mean, we want to explore stuff. Yeah, I'm not even 100% sure. So here I'm relatively certain that this is something that has to come in from one of the expansion, because I really don't know. I haven't seen this one. I know Gentes a little bit. Really was a long time ago since I last played. I have to confess here, I went through the rules of the base game of EPOS here, so I'm relatively certain that this has nothing to do with the base game. Similarly, these components here, yeah, here it seems already so scenario 2, scenario 3, scenario 4, so there are some personal objectives which may get added, and there is also some sort, and I'm really jumping around here like crazy. There is actually a huge campaign tracker here which you can play from. And I think this is where these cards are coming from here. So if you really want to explore the game, there is a lot to explore in this game. But before we go through some of the scenarios, maybe let's have a quick look at the rest of the components. Where are the base game cards? That's the one piece I really want to find out in this one here. So 3, 2, 1. So those here, honestly, I think these are the base game cards. These look definitely more familiar. I could count them through, and if these go, so they go to 50. So maybe there is some leftover cards in one of these decks here because they didn't fit. Maybe this was simply a 50 card print or so. But these, I believe, are the base game cards. Relatively certain about that. So a lot more cards to explore, a lot more content for the other scenarios to unravel. Yeah, I think these are here. This is 51. So I think there should be 4 more cards in here to cover the base game. And again, with this alone, you already have a vast amount of replayability, because the way when they come out, how you purchase them and so on, this is already pretty massive. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, indeed. And this is already, again, expansion stuff, scenario stuff, you name it. yeah, I haven't even looked at those cards here because I really don't know. And to be fair, I don't have the rules for all of the modules quite yet. So bear with me here. Let's continue to have a look inside the box here. And usually when I do these kind of unboxing videos, it's usually for games I know particularly well. I did that for the Anno 1800 expansion just the other day. So in this case, I really had some idea what I'm talking about. Again, I know Gentes, the original game. I went through the rules of the base game. So I have, let's say, some good grasp about what this is. But again, because I don't know all the ins and out of all the scenarios, all the expansion stuff, I really don't know a lot. Yeah, these are what are those called? Achievement markers also, or partly I think the main base game achievement markers are in here. I'm relatively certain that these are already stuff from the expansion, at least to some part. This marker here, I'm relatively certain, belongs to the core game. And yes, you are definitely looking at the deluxified components here, the wooden screen printed components. Really, really gorgeous. Here we have the cities, we have the ships. Again, here are these objective or scoring markers, as far as I know. Here, these are basically the player boards. And these are obviously, let's call it dual layered, and I like how they did this. This is a very, let's say, sensible approach to give you, let's say, some nice haptics, nice touch, but I think it's still manageable from a cost perspective. I don't really know if there are, normally there are these stickers in these things where you can then whatever pull them out, unpunch them and then glue them together. But I think this is really a nice compromise to getting good quality components for your player boards without, because you are moving these markers around left and right. Here you're putting in these send markers, here the time markers and so on. So I really do appreciate a dual layered board, and I think they did that quite well here. Here we have those action markers, and I think these should be more or less, I think, scenario independent as far as I can remember, as far as I can see. Again, I have to put them out together. Again, if you know Gentes, then a lot of these things will sound familiar. Some of those will come with a cost, some of them you will have to pay with time, and then they provide you an action. Some might be free, some might be more expensive. I think you get the idea, but I will definitely cover the game mechanics in another video next couple of days or so, but I really need to play this before I even dare to do stuff. I think this seems to be already scenario expansion stuff. I believe there is actually iconography in order to identify those. So for example, this cogwheel here, I believe, belongs to the progress scenario. So I really do have all the components for the base game, for the game it seems. But again, I don't really have all the rules. The only scenario rule I have received is the Kingdoms one, which I only briefly glanced through. So I think this is already expansion stuff. Similarly here, I think this is also stuff from one of the scenarios, at least as far as I know. These are the normal scout discs, I believe these are referred to. This is how basically some sort of an area control element. Yeah, these are also, I think, roads also. These are the time markers, also screen printed stuff. They should be double-sided. Indeed, they are. Here are the training markers. So these are the training markers for your player boards. I think these are also double-sided with standard and a +1 side of those. So this is basically, I think, a set of 6 for each of the players. Here are the training markers for the board. These are these blockers or so, which you have to put on your player board so you can unlock them to make more room for more actions and stuff. These are some of the neutral counting markers, giving you some stuff to track how many actions you have used or which actions you have used. Yeah, not sure from which scenario this is coming from. Honestly, I'm a big fan of this. It's not even antique. I mean, that's pre-antique kind of really ancient stuff here. These artworks here, I'm really a big fan of this. Here we have some coins. Not really sure if the campaign, and maybe I should mention this game will be launching on GameFound, I think sometime this month. And with my next video, I will hopefully have all the information whatever, maybe even a link, a preview link or so to share. Here are some more tiles, more components here. These are, I think, blocker tiles when you play the game with fewer than 4 players, as far as I remember. Here we have definitely stuff for some of the scenarios. More coins, more blockers, more stuff. Oops, and I'm already start to unpunch everything in here. More and more, so really a lot to explore. Here we have some, what are those called? Trade goods also, because there is a trade module in there. I'm pretty sure this might be related to that. And ultimately, we do have the game board, which is also double-sided for the most part, from what I can tell. And maybe let me set up the game board here to have a look at this. So I have to zoom out for a second. So here we are. This is the normal side of the game. You see this little is it a torch or an iron tool of some sort? But that's the normal side. Again, there is one scenario where you are putting this to the other side. Was this the expeditions one? Again, I will come to some of these modules in a second, I guess. So the map here, you see you have some of these inner regions where you see these police in the middle here, and out here we have the provinces. In a 4-player game, some of these provinces have 2 spaces. This is where you are using these cover-up tiles that I briefly showed you on one of those punch boards. So I think all these double regions are more or less covered up in a whatever 2 or 3 player game, maybe even in a solo game. Again, a lot of these things will look familiar to know if you know Gentes, so for especially the training track up here. This is very similar to Gentes, or basically the same thing. Down here we have the card display, also something, a mechanic that you will know. Here are the spaces for the various actions that you can take. So you have the action discs that you can place onto your board. You have some actions that you can basically use. No, that's one of this one here. That's an action that you can use basically all the time. I think this is a market action where you can gain some income for 1 time or 2 time here respectively. And again, on the other side there is a different board which looks, let's say, very similar to some extent, but for example the trading track is something different. Maybe it's the trade one actually that is using a different board, I think, because this seems very tradey to me. So maybe the scenario you're using it for is for this one here. And yeah, you see the symbol down here, this is this crate, and indeed that's for the trade scenario. So apparently you're only playing this side of the map if you're playing one specific scenario. And if you're playing a campaign, you can somehow, from what I understood, mix and match the scenarios you are playing. So you will always, let's have some sort of a different, let's say, scenario situation that you have to deal with. Of course, a lot of these things will have very similar base rules, but yeah, some things may vary from scenario to scenario. I think that's more or less it in respect to the components. Really, there's a lot to explore, and again, I don't really know where a lot of these components are coming from, and I will most likely not be able to cover them all in a video, but I suggest you to check out Uli's but his channel. He is walking through, I think, most, if not all, of the scenarios and components in very short, crisp videos where you can see what these are basically designed for. So maybe let's have a quick look at the scenarios that come with the game right now. So first of all, you have to be aware that you can play this game without any scenarios. You can simply use the, let's say, base rules here and be happy for quite a while. I'm relatively certain you can enjoy the base game numerous times without getting bored. But in case you want to spice things up, you have scenario 1, Kingdoms. That's the one I have currently access to. All the other rules will come, relatively certain. Then we have a Tributes one, and you also see the player count for those. So apparently you can't play the Kingdoms one solo. I will cover that in a second. 2 Tributes, yes, you can play this solo. Expeditions, this sounds relatively intriguing to me, quite honestly. Expeditions seems like a good way to discover stuff. I like this kind of a mechanic where you may want to unfold stuff, and I think we have seen some of these cities on punch boards. So I could imagine, for example, so those one here that you really have, yes, indeed. So you see some of the symbols here, so they might belong to the, no, it's not expeditions actually. So this is a column second column seems to be related to the new era run. So maybe you will simply shake up the game board a little bit. I really don't know. Again, I don't really have access to all the rules, but you see, you have an awful lot of different scenarios that you can play. Turbulent times, new era. Then you have the campaign game. In the campaign game, you either play all 8 scenarios or a random selection of 4. So that's also something. Even within the campaign, you can more or less pick and choose. I think if you really want to go through the campaign for the first time, I think you want to go through them from 1 to 8. If you are, let's say, more familiar with the game and you really want to focus on your top 4, your favorite 4 scenarios, that's something that you can do here as well. And I briefly touched upon this. Yes, of course, there is a solo mode. You can play the base game already solo, so there is an adjustment for solo play, which I haven't gone through here. I think in the end you want to reach a certain threshold in respect to the final scoring here. So with 69 scoring points, you need more practice. Try again, then you can become a pioneer, or with 140 points, you can become Augustus. And there's even more to that. So even for the base game alone, there is also a solo challenge score sheet where you can really say, okay, I want to play on level 1, level 2 and level 3. Then you can tick them off. End of the game, have 3 bonus markers, train 6 merchants, and you can tick it off. You can track your glory points in here. Because I printed out my rulebook here, I'm no problems ticking off stuff in the rulebook here. And yeah, the game is getting progressively more expensive. And then you see here how many failed attempts you have. You get some challenge points deducted from that. So you can really enjoy this game in quite a big variety of different things. I'm not yet sure which one I will show to you. I'm still in negotiations with Uli, actually, what he wants me to cover, but let me know what you are interested in. So if you say you want to see, let's say, a walkthrough of the base game, simulating or demonstrating maybe 3 players, then I can do that for a couple of rounds. If you say, no, let's totally do a solo playthrough, then this is something I will consider too. And again, maybe I will also cover one of the scenarios. So maybe I will do a walkthrough of the base game, simulating a couple of players, or maybe a short video demonstrating first round or so, and then do a full playthrough doing the solo session with one of the scenarios also. That's something I'm currently still debating with myself and with Uli, but definitely let me know what you think. And yeah, that's basically my little unboxing video of EPOS, a Gentes Game. A lot of stuff, a lot to unravel here, a lot to unpack. So here we still have the massive bag of cards. And again, I haven't even looked at one of those. I have to put them in one of the plastic bags. Luckily, there are some bags in the game. And yeah, really hope you enjoyed my little unboxing here. I'm definitely excited. I will bring it to next game night. So if you happen to be in Frankfurt on Thursday this week, you might get a chance to play this game with me and some of my friends. And yeah, with that being said, huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members. You guys are truly amazing. And yeah, with that being said, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And until then, bye bye.